Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We've got another big update on the Ruby Rose, Batwoman, Warner Brothers TV allegations between each of them. Ruby Rose has taken to Instagram once again and shared even more information, doubling down on the claims and trying to provide as much evidence as possible for those claims. So, as we go through all of this, you can kind of build up your own picture of it all. Obviously, Ruby Rose, I don't understand why she kept quiet for so long, but she did. She obviously then came out and stated all this stuff. And one thing I've always said during this whole process, which is undeniable, which actually no one has refuted from Warner Brothers TV, good, because you can't, is the safety standards. The safety standards are atrocious on that show. One person's been left as a paraplegic. I mean, for goodness sake, come on. That in and unto itself, easily avoidable. You know, someone literally had like a cherry picker come down on their head and it just left them done. They're done for. So, I'm glad no one's refuted that, but this backwards and forwards is, it's intriguing to see, and obviously just as a spectator, it'll be interesting to see where everything lands. A lot of people are saying this is it for Ruby Rose's career. Doubtful, actually. I think she will probably be okay. She'll be blacklisted from Warner Brothers and subsequent underling companies, I'm sure, but, the amount of kind of PR that's happening about this, it's not bad for her. I'm sure she'll be hired to speak her truth at various places. But it is fascinating to watch. So we're going to dive into this today. Ladies and gents, if you are new here, please do hit subscribe. If you enjoy the coverage that I'm giving you here today, again, hit that like button, hit subscribe. It'd be good to have you here on the channel a little bit more often. For those returning subscribers, check out my second channel. It's in the description box. You might enjoy it. Anyway, let's dive into it. Okay, so this is an article over on Bleeding Cool. Why? Well, they just compiled it quite nicely, and I don't really feel like grabbing the screenshots myself and deciphering it all. So anyway, what we see here is, again, just shared on Instagram, and it's a string of messages, emails, etc. So this is Ruby to, I assume, her manager. And she said, "Honestly, Carol, I'm so close to being done with this show. Between the atmosphere, the BS, the investigation, surgery, I'm really about to walk. I don't take breadcrumbs. Do better. Use this situation as a way to change the industry and the world. But keep up the smear campaign because it only fires me up to continue this when that's the last thing I wanted." Now, I think a lot of people draw comparisons between this and Ray Fisher, which is it's a bad comparison because Ruby Rose is, I guess, providing some form of evidence at this point in time, which is interesting. It's interesting to see the sort of two opposing elements here. One actually providing the receipts, I guess, was Ray Fisher's famous line that he kept saying. TikTok, TikTok. Ooh, very ominous. And then, this is obviously just a reply. It says, "Same. I meant walk today until I can get my breath and have a talk with SAG or Greg, and just wanted everyone except maybe Caroline to work this whole thing out." So quite a deep hatred of Caroline there. "I don't know about walking from the show for good. Maybe I want to, but I fear huge consequences. This isn't even the report, but reminding you I'm still here and you have an opportunity to change things." Okay. And then we get a message. This is from Greg Berlanti to Ruby. It says, "Thank you. You're gorgeous orchid. You are gorgeous orchid. You are so thoughtful, but the real gift is your amazing performance and hard work. Very thankful for your talent and kindness. Have an amazing time off and congrats on such a wonderful success this year." She does follow up by saying, "I actually like Greg. I still want to believe he has a human side. So this is hard, but again, not in the report because the report is, wow, way too intense to have to release. But my work ethic was never questioned until I was injured and walked and stayed and was fired. Lol." And then this is this sort of more ominous thing. This is all about the, well, not really ominous. I mean, this is just about Caroline Dries. And they're actually confirming things which I've been saying a lot of. They just use the sort of inclusion and diversity elements as a cash cow. Oh, hey, look, we've got this. This is our token, gay or whatever. I mean, this is basically what she's saying. We all know it. It is just part and parcel of what they do. But some people like to bury their head in the sand and just say, no, that's not the case. It absolutely is the case. Now, she said, "Off to bed, but deciding between releasing Caroline's email about not being an LGBT activist or feminist, but saying she could be one for others through the show, i.e. monetizing gays is how she found the desire to make people feel included, or the email exchanges when I did leave, and the truths in that from all three of them. Let me give them time to act privately, which is all I wanted. Mediation, not litigation. Appropriately, which should be fast considering when I went to hire a litigation lawyer, Greg had hired them all. Interesting. I'm aware I'm looking literally as white as white as a ghost right now, so sorry about that. There we go, let's bring this right down so you can see a little bit there. God, it's like a beam of light shining through. I'm doing the Lord's work, I'm not. Anyway, so this is a message. It looks to be a message from Caroline. No, to Caroline, sorry, CCing in Holly, which I believe is her agent, maybe. There we go, much better, ladies and gents. So, says, copy that. Also, last night's on set was absolutely catastrophic. I don't know if it's Dermot or what or who or how, but people were yelling at each other and walking off set, and it was so stressful. Eddie was like a piece of scotch tape on the side of a Titanic. This might sound like a very strange ask, but is there a way to have a no yelling at crew or production or anyone rule on set? Just a no yelling rule. That's a Joe Roth rule on his films. Just to keep the love and patience up, the morale up. It's stressful and hard enough on the crew and actors pulling all-nighters and 16-hour days and 14-hour camera days without people losing their temper and getting aggressive. I just felt like I had to be the comedic relief for cast and crew and camera and the whole room, which is fine, but I too am tired and it just makes all of our jobs a little harder. This is trying to confirm to us that she had said, you know, what she had said about how, oh, hey, look, you know, there was definitely yelling and it was all a toxic work environment and things like this. Now, this is interesting. Apparently there was... okay, so this is more about the yelling stuff, sorry. And then also as a showrunner who I went to about a no yelling memo to then offload it to a director who wasn't even directing that episode. Also, a PA got a concussion that day and an extra got hit in the head with a crane. That was a paraplegic one, I think. Anyway, so... yeah, we get this weird reply. Jerry told me about that. I'm relieved to hear you found a way to keep some comic relief, because usually it's the number one doing the yelling. Yelling at crew is unnecessary. I have never had to raise my voice at work once in my career. People need some coping skills. Holly, how do you deal with this? From what I gleaned, it was Dermot and a reaction to stress time crunch. Okay? Never mind. This is the interesting thing. So... apparently, there was a PA that came out. I did a video on it. There was a PA that came out and basically said, no, Ruby Rose was a tyrant. She was a tyrant. She was cruel. She was a dictator on set. Now, we don't even know that if they even worked on it. But then we get this here saying, Elise was an actual PA. The person in that article isn't on one call sheet. I checked 3 months worth. So apparently they're alleging that person was just completely faking, basically. Who knows at this point? Genuinely, who knows? This is to Rachel Scarston, I believe. Warren walked off set. Also, I know about Elise. I kept trying to get her to get help, and she wouldn't. It was bad. Caroline sent me an email. I haven't responded yet because I feel like I need to really say my piece. This is awful. Also, traffic is so horrific. I'm going to be late. I'm stressing. But that also confirms that she was late, which is what that PA said. That supposed PA, saying that she was late all the time. So this in one hand... is trying to refute that person even exists, but then by Ruby's own comment, it does say, confirm what that individual had said, which was that she turns up late. It's fascinating stuff. I don't know really the reference. I don't understand the point of this. I'm sure this is the cameras anyway. To heal perfectly and not have issues later, they wanted me to shoot 2 covers this week, but there was just not a chance in hell I could get into that suit and not absolutely crash. So hopefully it will all work. Gonna have a 6 scar. And then we get, this is Cameras' is the guy who plays Lucas Fox, and he came out and absolutely tore Ruby Rose a new one. So it's interesting that she's sharing this. Maybe just the fact that he's two-faced, I'm guessing. And he replied saying, the sickest scar. As I was reading the covers part, I went, oh nah, out loud. So I'm glad you turned them down for now. That crap would have sucked. Exactly right. Heal up the right way and you'll be back to playing in no time. Dope. And then she just said this, P.S. I still shot those 2 covers. How silly to think I had an option. More on that tomorrow. Didn't do it for me. I didn't need them. I'd already shot the previous EW cover. But 6 days after my surgery was when they wanted me to shoot. Oft. Those emails are heartbreaking, but say a lot. And then there's some of this stuff as well. Saying, wait until the busiest time of the season. Cross over to investigate my injury, only to threaten me the whole time. I spent a week getting 0 sleep, collecting all x-rays. Emails, professionals, opinions, all for my team. Let it be told, they've decided to end the investigation before the PI finalises the report and will not share the outcome. It's just such a shit show. There's another email. My surgery was the 18th of June. And you sit here, 17th of June. The overall concept is heroes fighting through peril vibe with lighting. It's colourful, sexy, and kinetic. Ooh. They wanted me to shoot 2 covers starting the 24th. 5 days after surgery and 1,000 emails a day every day after my surgery to do work. There was not 1 day of downtime. I declined. Then they told me the whole Arrowverse would be affected because just like the year before, without me, they would lose the whole cover for the show and cast. I mean, come on, the Arrowverse is not that big deal. Jesus, it's just such fascinating stuff to watch. To watch this sort of all unfold before your very eyeballs. Absolutely fascinating stuff. Sorry, I had to auto-correct some things then. And then, again, like I said, sorry they will not be able to get it together to shoot the crossover, blah, blah, blah. Good news, they'll give us a cover, for the Batwoman launch. I didn't mention the cast, blah, blah, blah. Just more stuff. So they wouldn't fly a photographer to Vancouver to not lose this cover for the leads of all the Arrowverse shows, but made me fly back to LA. And when I said I couldn't wear the costume yet, they agreed, then later said, you have to, everyone else did. This is all in the first weeks of surgery. I mean, that's pretty bad. Saying you have to, that is really, really bad. Yeah. Again, I mean, it's all here. In order not to lose this Comic-Con issue for the CW, would you be willing to fly back on a Saturday, July 6th, to shoot this in LA, blah, 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 without you cover go? Yeah, I mean, it sort of all points to her kind of telling the truth, but there are still some reveals in there which don't look that great on her. If this is just a small example of how I was treated and my surgery was treated every day from the day I woke up from surgery, you don't want to know what it was like on set, trust me. Oh, how kind, we can do hair and makeup, not in costume. I take that back, they would like you in the costume for video questions. Everyone else did, and these are going to be cut together for the Arrowverse. It's not really saying it would drop it like she thought though, so a bit strange, but never mind. People knew everywhere. And then we just get these comments here saying, and I take it we'll still want to hide this surgery, right? So ME and EW don't know, or they do know but are being kind and not writing about it. The writers don't know. The photo department knows ME and EW is a Warner Brothers legal thing. Interesting. Again, just it's loads of stuff. She went mental. Yeah, she went mental about all of this. No need or way to explain below. I was bedridden at the time, not being able to drive, legally be driven without a neck brace, just because my local cafe was loud. I mean, you can't make this shit up. I can't drive, so I'll be in an Uber or someone might drive me, but I have to wear a neck brace in a car for 2 weeks and would rather be close to home in case anything happens or I get sick. Pretty fair points, to be fair. In my experience, the pain is so quiet. I've done so many interviews and meetings there and often been the only person there. I just asked around, but the pain is the most... I'm sure, well, the coffee shop basically is the most quiet. Please be under blah, 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 pressure days, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And then this gets weird. This is an assistant hired by Warner Brothers for me towards the end of the season. So, yeah, again, slightly odd stuff going on. Like Warner Brothers, they are a strange company. Hey, Carol. My name is Joel. I'm Ruby's on-set person assistant on the set of Batwoman today. As you have most likely heard from Ruby already, we had atmosphere and dust on set together. Due to the levels of smoke in the congested area, there was difficult airflow in the area and Ruby had some trouble breathing. Her chest tightened and her throat swelled up and she was having difficulty breathing. Ruby wanted to know what the TWA factor was in the room to detect it. if it was safe to actually be working in those conditions. A meter device should be able to tell the TWA factor for each scene, but I was told they didn't have a device on set to test out everything. The studio itself also has poor ventilation, so the airflow, like, just absolutely ripping into the set. Hey Shane, we just want to had such a big dialogue about how you would stay until I felt comfortable and how you would cut Atmos entirely if that was something I wanted. I'm just confused as it seems like this came out of nowhere. Also, you discussed training someone to use the meter and leaving it there. So the safety guy from Warner Brothers comes and it turns out we don't even have the simple machine or airflow or follow any of the Atmos fog sag rules. So not doing what, you know, unions say basically. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But again, we're not getting the full context here, you know. And she's talking about Brit. Like, I mean, that's bad, obviously, but you know, it doesn't relate to the things which she had initially said anyway, which doesn't make, you know, you'd think that they would get on that a little bit more, wouldn't you? Yeah, and then she obviously put this guy on blast as well, Alexander J. Baxter. I'm having trouble finding anyone from Batwoman that remembers you. You are not on a single call sheet under any department, but definitely not under PA, and you're not even on the IMDb in reference to the show, which, anyway, I'll be reading your statement out later today or tomorrow on my Instagram to discuss how to spot a very bad attempt at a smear job studio plant. Oh, it's fascinating stuff. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Thanks so much. Take care.